G'day Internet, on today's episode of Project Y we're going to be laying down some sound deadening.
What's fucking B doing? So at the moment the interior of the car is just full of pretty much everything that I've accumulated over time that I didn't want getting wet, that I've kept out of the weather. So I've cleared out one side of it. I'm just going to do the passenger side first, and then I'll move on to the driver's side once I sort of trial and make sure that this actually works out properly. As you can probably see, it's pretty filthy. So what I'm going to do is I've got a cup of warm water with just dishwashing soap in it, and then I've got a drill with like a nylon brush on it, I guess, and then I'm just going to scrub it and hopefully get rid of some of this dirt and grime. So I've cleaned up the interior with a wire brush on a drill, just gotten rid of some of the rust. There wasn't much because I'd treated it a while ago, but it's looking a little bit cleaner. I just etch primed over the raw metal parts, and then now what I'm going to do is lay down a rust guard paint, which I'll show. So the rust guard paint is this gear here. So rust guard top coat epoxy enamel. The only reason I'm using it is because it was a mist tint at Bunnings, and it was like $50 I think, instead of being like $130. And it's meant to do the job. I'm going to lay it on pretty thick with a roller. I've used it on other things before and it's been great. So I'll just pour that into the roller. It's a bit of a weird colour because it's a mist tint. I'm going to try really hard not to get any of this on the paint as well, because the paint's just fresh and nice. I don't really know which one I should use. I think I'm going to use the sponge one. Yeah, as you can see, it's like a weird sort of chocolate brown, kind of pinky. This looks like milk chocolate, I guess. It was cheap. So I'm just laying down a really thin sort of coat just down on the, and then when I've used it previously I've laid down really thick, and this stuff takes forever to dry, so I'm going to do lots of thin coats, hope that it'll dry a bit quicker. As you can see, the colour's super weird. Yeah, but keep cracking on. So I've let the paint sit overnight. Hopefully it's fully cured. I checked at about 4 hours after it had been done, and it was still a bit tacky. We'll crack on. Hopefully it'll be dry enough to lay down what we need. We're just going to put some sound deadening down. I'll talk us through that when we get there. So this is how the paint's looking. I've laid it on thick enough that I'm confident it's sealed everything it needs to seal. I just touched up the edges that I didn't hit with the roller, just with a brush with some chassis black. So yeah, that's what all this is. It's looking fine. It wasn't particularly rusty to start with. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. I've got some sound deadening for it, which I should be able to lay down. Even now, I don't know if you can hear that. It's still pretty tacky, but it's not lifting the paint. I don't know, this stuff just sort of, in my experience, just takes forever to dry. So sound deadening is something that, since I got the car and knew I was going to build it, I wanted to put in the car in some form. It is really expensive. So I spent a lot of time looking for cheap alternatives, and I'd sort of settled on one, and then about a week ago a different one popped up, and it was very cheap. See how it goes. You understand what I'm talking about. Sound deadening I'm going to be using is an Amazon Basics sound deadening. A lot of people use that car builders stuff. I was looking at Big Dog sound deadening as well. but the cost of them, especially the car builder stuff, for the budget I'm working with, is not even an option. There's Big Dog as well, which is actually a bit more affordable. It's about half the price of car builders. Then this was like half again. 10 of these sheets is $30 on Amazon. The only gamble was when I bought them, it didn't specify how thick they were. So from looking at them, I reckon they're maybe a mil thick, whereas some of your other stuff is going to be, I think they're usually about 2 mil thick, so about twice as thick. I don't know. I'm happy to lay it down. If it doesn't work, I'll pull it up. I've lost $30. It's not the end of the world. Hopefully it'll make a difference. If it makes enough of a difference, I'll just order some more and use that. It's sitting under carpet anyway. Anything's going to help. So yeah, we'll crack on, get into that. I've never used any sort of sound deadener. I did have a roller to roll it down, but I've lost it. I don't know where the hell it is. Anyway, so I'm sort of going to now lay them down without taking off the back sheet, just so I have an idea of how much I have, where I can place it, get an idea of the placement, and then I can start, jigsawing it together. And hopefully, I think it will, but hopefully this box will cover the passenger side. And then, because I've only done one side, I'm keen to sort of see a difference on either side, knocking on panels and hearing how it's different. And it comes with instructions, which I didn't know. Maybe it'll tell me how thick it is. Yeah, so the car builder's stuff is from Repco, $105 for 12 sheets, 300 by 500, and they're 2.2 mil thick. So yeah, I reckon this is about half as thick as that stuff. I'm also leaving the original sound deadening material down, the matting. A lot of people take it up with dry ice. I couldn't be bothered, and it can't be doing anything negative. Some people say maybe it's hiding rust. I don't think so, but yeah, it's going to add a little bit, and that stuff there's almost 2 mil thick anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to leave it in and lay on top of it. I think it should be fine. So for anyone wondering, it is butyl, so I have to use a foil tape on the edges. As I mentioned, I don't have a roller, so I'm going to have to improvise with a beer bottle. I'm going to try, and then a can of used spray paint, because hopefully I can sort of do this sort of thing. Definitely not ideal. I just didn't want to pay the extra $4 to get one when I bought them, because I swore I had one, but yeah, there you go. Seems to be doing an okay job. I don't know if you can, I don't know enough about this stuff to tell if it's working. I assume it's not as good of a product as car builders and the stuff that people who are working with bigger budgets are using, but for the price, for $30 for 10, it seems alright. I'm going to lay down the whole thing. Tomorrow, once it's all set, we can do a comparison between the two. So I've laid down this first section. Seems to be pretty good, actually. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. I won't really know until we do the comparison. I'm gonna buy a roller and clean up some of this today, just because I don't know, I think it'll help, and it'll cost me $3. The foil tape that you meant to use, I was gonna get the car builder's stuff, but I couldn't actually, I had to order it either online or get it ordered to a store. So what I did instead, I got this foil insulation tape from Bunnings. It was a little bit more expensive, but I just sort of wanted to get this done, so I wasn't too bothered paying it. I assume it's the same stuff, insulation foil tape. If it's different, someone let me know and I can tear it up, and I don't know how much of a difference. I assume it's just so the butyl doesn't get everywhere when it's pressed up next to each other, and it's got these open edges on it. But I'll just do these ones here and make sure this actually adheres. So that foil tape, I don't know, I assume it's the same stuff. I've never been, I don't know, I don't think I've ever actually been in a car that's had this laid down properly, so I don't know, my knowledge is zero. So I've laid down pretty much a whole box. I've got this much left, but that's how much 10 pieces will get you. So it's almost the entire passenger side. I'm definitely going to need more to finish up this side. I'm going to grab some butyl tape as well, just to fill in some of the smaller gaps, so I don't have to cut up the bigger sheets. But yeah, it's laid down really well. The foil tape's fine, I guess. Yeah, I assume it's done the right thing. But yeah, that's what it'll get you. Alright, so it's been 2 days. I've ripped out the driver's side, and now I'm going to do a test to see sort of if it actually did anything, which we'll see. I hope it did. I think it did. Fingers crossed. We'll see. So this side's cleared out. It's still dirty, but I don't think that matters. I'm not doing a super legit sort of check. What I've done over here, so all this stuff that looks like duct tape, that's actually a butyl insulation tape which I got from Bunnings. It's 1mm thick, so it's pretty much the same thickness as the Amazon Basics stuff. I've just used that in spots that were a bit harder to get to, and I'll probably use it. It was really cheap, so I'll probably use it like in just hard to reach spots throughout the rest of it when I come to sound deaden the rest. So we'll do a test of some kind. I'll put up the camera somewhere and we'll see. So I've just got an app on my phone. I know that these sort of sound readings aren't very accurate compared to an actual like dB meter. It'll just give a visual representation of if it's actually worked. I'm gonna place this somewhere, center of the transducer. That's reading at about 70. That's reading at about 60. I assume that's good. 10 dB is not bad. 60. Yeah, 70. 70. Roughly 80. 70. 80. Okay. Through that, it's helped. I don't know if that's the best way to show it, but it's sort of, we got a 10 dB, so 10 decibel difference upon that sort of contact. I assume with like an exhaust and everything, having sound coming up like through here, and vibration and stuff, it'll help as well. But yeah, that sort of just shows. For the money, I'm happy. I wouldn't have spent the money on the more expensive stuff anyway, so this is definitely better than nothing. Sweet, so that's just showing the Amazon Basics sound deadening. I'm happy with it. I think it made enough of a difference that for the price, I'm quite happy with it. I wasn't planning on going all out and spending a lot of money anyway, so for a budget-friendly cheap option, I think it's actually pretty good. That sort of finishes it up for this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.